Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Om Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Mavamahi, Kavin Kavinam Upavashnavastramam, Jeshtarajam Brahmanan Brahmanaspada Anushrundhoti Bisida Sadanam. Om Mahaganadipataye Namaha. Om Keshwaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhvaya Namaha, Om Govindaya Namaha, Om Vishnuvaya Namaha, Matsudraya Namaha, Trivikramaya Namaha, Vamanaya Namaha, Sridharaya Namaha, Rushikeshaya Namaha, Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Sankarshnaya Namaha, Vasudevaya Namaha, Pradyumnaya Namaha, Niruddhaya Namaha, Purushottamaya Namaha, Dokshaya Namaha, Narasimhaya Namaha, Achyutaya Namaha, Janardhanaya Namaha, Upendraya Namaha, Hare Namaha, Sri Krishna Namaha, Sri Krishna. शंभवे नमः विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्रयंबकाय त्रिपुरांतकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकंठाय मृत्युंजयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः हरि ओम हरि ओम ओम ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं चामुंडाय विच्चे 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 हरि ओम हरि ओम. Dear friends and devotees, we came to the chapter 16th, the incidents of preliminary to the Haihaya and Bhargava affairs. King Janamejaya of Hastinapura is asking Vyasa Maharishi, in whose family were born those Kshatriya Haihayas that killed in ancient times the Bhargavas, regardless of the sin incurred in killing a Brahmin. O grandsire, never do the good persons become angry without a serious cause. Therefore, kindly state why they got angry, how was the enmity caused between them and the priest. As far as I can think, the cause is not so simple, and one has led to this enmity between the Kshatriyas and the priest. Otherwise, when would they slay the offenseless Brahmins fit to be worshipped, and how was it that Kshatriyas, though they were so powerful and not fear to commit a sin, Kshatriya, chief, kill a Brahmin worthy of the highest respect. Kshatriya, chief, kill a Brahmin worthy of the highest respect, merely on a trifling cause. Describe to me that. Now hear this very attentively. In ancient times, there was a king named Kartavira Arjuna of the family of Haihaya. He was of thousand hands, powerful and always ready to observe religious duties. He was the incarnation of Hari and a disciple of Maharishi Dattatreya and a worshipper of the supreme force Adishakti. He was well known as the Bhargava priest, became possessed of many horses and gems and jewels, and so became wealthy and prosperous on the surface of this earth. O king, when Kartavira Arjuna, the best of the kings, left the mortal coil and got up to the heavens, his descendants became entirely void of any wealth by the indomitable influence of time. Now, on a certain occasion, the Haihayas had to perform certain actions which necessitated a vast sum of money. They came to the Bhargavas and humbly prayed for a very large amount of wealth. But the Brahmins, after their greed of money, replied they had no money, and thus they did not give any money whatsoever. Rather, the Bhargavas thought that the Haihayas would perforce take their wealth, and fearing thus, some of them buried all their valuables underneath the ground, and others gave as charities to the Brahmanas. The greedy Bhargavas, bewildered with fear, thus transferred all their properties elsewhere, quitted their homes, and fled away to the mountains and other places. The greedy Brahmins did not give any wealth to their yajmanas, their clients, though they saw them very much distressed. But they fled away out of the fear to the mountains and fastness, where they found shelter. At last, the Hayas, the best of the Kshatriyas, became very sorry for till at last, for the sake of their own good actions, they went to the Bhargavas' houses for the sake of money and found they had underneath their houses for money, and some got the money thus. Then the Kshatriyas began to labor hard and got hordes of money from underneath the ground. Next, they raided upon other Brahmanas' houses and dug and excavated and searched for more money. The Brahmins were helpless and crying all took their refuge and out of fear under the Bhargavas. The Kshatriyas made an exhaustive search of the Brahmanas' houses and got lots of money. They then charged the Brahmanas as having had spoken falsehood, and they became very angry and killed the Brahmanas with arrows who took their refuge. O king, the Hayayas were so very angry at that time that they went wherever the Bhargavas took their shelter and cut asunder the feet lives, and thus the helpless woman began to cry like the awe-stricken awe. Then the other munis, the inhabitants of the sacred places of pilgrimage, seeing the Hayayas, Kshatriyas, inflamed with anger, said, O Kshatriyas, quit your terrible anger towards the Brahmins. Being the best of the Kshatriyas, you are killing the fetus in the wombs of the pregnant Brahmana ladies. You are doing, no doubt, a very vicious and unjustifiable act. You should know that an act where bad or very good bears fruit in this life vicious act. Therefore, those that seek their welfare should entirely omit this exceedingly hateful and vicious act. Then the exceedingly angry Hayas told the merciful ascetics, you all are saints, therefore you do not know the real import of what are called vicious acts. Those Bhargavas, thoroughly dexterous in cunning pursuits, deceived our large-hearted forefathers and stole away all their gold and jewels, as thieves do, with a passerby on the road. With the passerby on the road, these Bhargavas are cheats, vain persons, and their persuasions or like herons. A great act had to be done. Wanted money at 25% interest. Never should any Brahmin hold his money. He should give that in charity and enjoy at his pleasure. O twice born in amazing wealth, there exist three fears: fear from the thieves and robbers, fear from the king, fear from the dreadful fire accidents, and especially great terrible fear from the cheats. This is the nature of the wealth. It leaves its preserver. See, moreover, when holder of money dies, he certainly has to quit it. If a wealthy man, before dying, performs yajna, homa, sacrifices, and other good pious acts by his earned money, then he gets certainly good states in the future. Otherwise, he quits his wealth to no purpose and earns a bad state in his future life also. There is no doubt in this. We humbly wanted to pay a quarter interest and asked money for the performance of a great act, yet they greed real use of their money. and of those that are vicious, their wealth goes away in ruin and to no purpose. He who does not enjoy nor give in charities, but is only clever in hoarding, and who is a miser, the kings punish them by all means. That man who cheats himself and who suffers only pains and miseries. For that reason, we are now ready to kill and trembling with fear. Thus the Bhargavas were being killed by those vicious, greedy Hayas, infuriated with anger, and as they liked, O king, this greed is of the greatest enemy of man. Residing in his own body, this greed is the root of all evils, of all sins. Life is in danger due to this covetousness. It is due to this greed that quarrels ensue amongst the several castes, the Brahmins, etc., and that the human beings are very much troubled with thirst and worldly enjoyments. This greed makes a man forsake all his religious rites and long existing customs and observances of his family, and it is due to this avarice of gold that men kill their fathers, mothers, brothers, friends, gurus, sons, acquaintances, sisters, and sisters-in-law, and others. Really, when a man is bent on avarice, means with full of jealousy, nothing heinous remains to him that cannot be done by him. This greed is a more powerful enemy than anger, lust, and egoism. O king, men abandon their lives for their greed. O king, men abandon their lives for their greed. What more can be said than this? So one should be always alert on this. O king, your forefathers, the Pandavas and Kauravas, were all religious, and they followed the path of virtue and goodness. Yet they all were ruined simply for this greed. See, the dreadful fight and separation amongst the relatives took place where there were the high-souled persons like Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, Kama, Valika, Bhimasena, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, and Keshava. Only through the avaricious feelings. In this battle, Bhishma, Drona, and the sons of Pandavas were all killed. The brothers and fathers were all slain in battle. Thus, what improper acts and mischiefs can there be that cannot be committed when the human minds are overpowered by this greed? O king, the vicious Hayayas slew the Bhargavas all through this jealousy and avarice. Here ends the 16th chapter in the 6th book on the incidents preliminary to the Hayaya and Bhagava Puranam of Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham, written by Maharishi Veda Vyasa in 18,000 shlokas. And that sixth, not satisfying to happiness in this world and good merits in the next life. Vyasa Maharishi said to the King Janamejaya, O King Janamejaya, I will now narrate to you the sin-destroying virtuous story, how the Bhargava wives crossed their great hardships and the ocean of troubles. Very difficult to cross. The Bhargava wives, when they were very much in distress and harassed by the Hayayas, went to the Himalayas, overwhelmed with the tremor, overwhelmed with the terror and disappointment. There on that mountain, they erected an earthen image of Sri Gauri Devi by the banks of Ganges and worshipped her, and firmly resolved to die, began to fast. The Devi Jagadambika appeared to these religious women in their dreams and said, a son will be born of my essence to one of you from one of our thighs, the sun will redress all your wants. Thus speaking, the Devi Bhagavati disappeared. Those women who those women, when they woke up, were very glad. One of them that appeared very clever, becoming very much anxious, out of the fear of Kshatriyas, preserved the fetus in one of her thighs, and for the propagation of the family. Her body became luminous. She then fled, overwhelmed with the terror. The Kshatriyas, seeing that Brahmini, came quickly upon her and said, "See, this pregnant Bhargava wife is flying away hastily. Seize her and take her away her life." Thus saying, all of them raised their axes and pursued her. Then that woman, seeing them coming, wept out of fear. She cried out of terror for the preservation of the child in her womb. And the child, seeing her mother helpless and distressed, trembling with fear, with tears in her eyes, having no one to protect her, and awfully oppressed by the Kshatriyas, as if a pregnant deer has been attacked by a lion and is crying about, angrily burst out of the thigh of his mother, and quickly came out like a second son. That good-looking boy took away the power of sight of those Kshatriyas by his brilliant illustrious light. No sooner the Hayas saw that boy than they got blind, like those that are born blind. They then began to roam in the caves of mountains and thought within themselves, what an evil turn of fate and overtaken them. They thought thus, oh, the mere sight of the boy has turned them blind. What a great wonder is this! Certainly this is due to the influence of the Brahmin wife. This is no doubt the great effect of our virtue of chastity, Pativrata Dharma of Brahmin. We have greatly oppressed the Bhargava woman. They have become very sorry and distressed. Now we cannot tell what more evils do these women of true resolve inflict on us. Thus pondering, those Kshatriyas, deprived of their eyes, helpless, and their minds bewildered, took a refuge of those Brahmin ladies. The ladies, seeing them again come, were the more terrified. But those Kshatriyas bowed down before them and folded hands for the restoration of their sights and said, O mother, we are your servants. Be gracious unto us. O auspicious ones, we are vicious Kshatriyas. O mothers, what an amount of offense we have committed to you. O beautiful ones, we have become blind. No sooner we have seen you. O angry ones, no more we can see your lotus-like faces, as if we were born blind. O mother, the spirit of your asceticism is so very wonderful. We are sinners. Therefore, by no means we can get our sight back. Therefore, we have taken be pleased unto us and restore our eyesights and make us your slaves. No sooner we get back our sights, we will cease from this vicious act and go to our homes. In future, we will never commit such heinous acts. From today, we all become servants of the Bhargavas, and we will serve them. Forgive all our sins that we committed unconsciously. We promise that in future there will be no more be any enmity between the Bhargavas and Kshatriyas. O good-looking ones, you pass your days happily with your sons. We ever bow down before you. O auspicious ones, be graciously pleased unto us. No more we will cherish any inimical feelings towards you. Vyasa Maharishi said to King Janamejaya, the Bhargava lady heard their words and was thunderstruck, and seeing those Kshatriyas bowing down before her, blind and distressed, consoled them and said, O Kshatriyas, I have not taken away your sights, nor am I displeased in any way with you. Now here, what is the real cause? This child of Bhargava, born of my thigh, this child of Bhargava, born of my thigh, is exceedingly angry towards you, and has therefore made your eyesight still and to no purpose. For the greed of wealth, you have slain the close relatives of this boy, those that are quite innocent and virtuous ascetics, and you have slain them, their children, and that were in their mother's wombs. This boy has come to know all these things. O children, when you were slaying the children of the Bhargava's family in their mother's wombs, I then bore within my thighs this child for 100 years. This son of mine, though as yet in the womb, has mastered all the Vedas within so very short time for the propagation of the Bhargava clan. Now this Bhargava son is infuriated with anger for your slaying his father, and is now ready to kill you all. My son, whose divine effulgence has destroyed your sights, is born of grace of the highest goddess, the Bhagavati Bhuvaneshwari. Therefore, do not consider this boy as an ordinary being. Now bow down with humility before this my son Aurava, born from the thighs. This son may be pleased by your bowing down and may restore your eyesight. So Vyasa Maharishi said, O King Janamejaya, hearing thus the words of the Brahmin lady, the Hayayas began to praise this boy with hymns. With a great humility, they bowed down to the best of the Munis. Born of the thighs, the Rishi Aurava then became pleased and spoke thus to the Hayayas, who have deprived of their eyesight. Better go back to your own homes, O kings, and read these following words, derived from my this story. Whatever is inevitable and created by the hands of gods must come to pass. Knowing this, no one ought to be sorrowful on any such matters. Let the rishis too get peace and happiness as before. When Maharshi Aurava ordered thus, the Himalayas got back their eyesights. Hayas got back their eyesights and went to their leisure to their own homes. On the other hand, the Brahmin lady went to her own hermitage with her divine spirited child and began to nourish him. O king, thus I have described to you the story of the killing of the Bhargavas and how the Kshatriyas, actuated by greed, did so very vicious acts. Janamejaya said, O ascetic, hearing this exceedingly heart-rending act of the Kshatriyas, I come to know that greed is the sole cause of it, and both the parties had suffered so much simply out of this insatiable greed. O King of Munis, I want to ask you one more question in regard to this point. How the sons of the kings came to be known Hayayas in this world. Amongst the Kshatriyas, some are called Yadavas, for they were descendant of Bharata. But some king named Ayaya, born before their family, were they known as such an account of other actions? I desire to hear of this incidents. Kindly describe this to me and oblige. Vyasa Maharishi said, O King Janamejaya, I am describing in detail to you of the origin of the Ayayas Kshatriyas. Here, the sins are destroyed. The sins are destroyed and the merits occur on hearing this story. O King, once on a time, Revanta, the son of the sun god, were very, very beautiful and boundless luster, was going to Vishnu in Vaikuntha, mounted in the heaven. O King, describing in detail to you the origin of the Hayayas. Here, the sins are destroyed and the merits occur on hearing the story. O King, once on a time, Revanta, the son of the sun god, very beautiful and handsome and boundless luster, was going to Vishnu in Vaikuntaloka, mounted on the beautiful Uchchaishrava, the jewel of the horses. When he was going on the horseback with a desire to see God Vishnu, the goddess Lakshmi saw that the child of the sun, the goddess Lakshmi born of ocean, became very much astonished and steadily gazed on him. So she did not reply, asked by the Bhagavan. The Lakshmi Devi, always restless, was very much intent on the horse and was enchanted, and she was looking steadily with a great affection on the horse. Seeing this, the Bhagavan became angry and said, O beautiful eyed one, what are you looking at this intently? Are you so much enchanted with the sight of the horse that you are not speaking to me a single word, though I am repeatedly asking you so often? You lovingly dwell on all the objects, hence your name is Rama. Your mind is also very restless, therefore you will be known as Chanchala Devi, the restless Devi. O auspicious one, you are restless like ordinary woman. You can never stay steadily for a certain time at any one place. While sitting before me, you are enchanted with the sight of the horse. Then you be born as a mare in that world of men, full of dreadful troubles. On the surface of the earth, the goddess Lakshmi became very much affrighted, and a sudden curse given by Vishnu, Hari, a matter as it were ordained by the Devas. They and began to cry loud, shuddering with pain and sorrows. Lakshmi Devi, then of sweet smiles, frightened, bowed down with a great humility at her own Lord Narayana and said that, O Deva of the Devas, Govinda, you are the Lord of this world and devotion of mercy. O Keshava, why have you inflicted on me so dreadful curse for such a minor fault of mine? O Lord, I never saw you before so very angry. Alas, where has now gone that affection, so natural and undying, that you showed towards me? O Lord, it is not proper to hurl a thunderbolt on one's own relations, but it is advisable to cast it on the object, fit of course. O Govinda, I will quit this life in your presence. I will never be able to live separated from you. O Lord, be graciously pleased and say, when shall I be free from this dreadful curse and regain your happy companion? The Bhagavan Narayana said, O Devi, when you will get a son in the world like me, you will no doubt come again to be to be my companion. Here ends the 17th chapter on the continuance of the family of Bhrigu in the 6th book of Mahapuranam, Sri Mad Devi Bhagavatham of 18,000 shlokas by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. That ends the 17th chapter. The next, we are going to the 18th chapter in the next session. Thank you very much. नमोस्तु अनंताय सहस्रमूर्तये सहस्रपादाक्षरभासासुनाम्ने पुरुषाश्रुते सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः सहस्रकोटियुगधारिणे नमः आकाशात् परितं यथागतसागरं सर्वदेव नमस्कारः श्रीकेशवं परिगत्यो नमः सर्ववेदेषु यत्पुण्यं सर्वतीर्थेषु यत्फलं तत्फलं पूर्णमा प्रतिभासनात् वासुदेवस्य भासन्ते जगत्त्रयं सर्वभूतनिवासोऽसि वासुदेव नमोस्तुते कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्धात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं क्लीं